The month of September was extremely rough for me and my family. I fell back into a dark hole, the third time that I've had a mental breakdown in the last 6 years of being in business. My objective with this video is to pull back the curtains, be 100% transparent and vulnerable with you so that I can prevent you from a lot of pain. I don't ever want you to go down that same path and fall into the same type of dark hole. So stick around. Hey guys, it's Carlos Reyes. Welcome back to my channel. This video is not like all the other videos that we've posted on my channel. Today, we're gonna discuss a stigma in the entrepreneur world. We're gonna be very vulnerable and we're gonna dive super deep into a subject a lot of society fails to bring to light, and that is stress, anxiety, depression. Do me a favor, stick around to the end of this video because I'm going to share with you 3 life-changing lessons that I learned from going to a recent retreat in Tampa Bay, Florida. Make sure that you do, because these 3 life-changing lessons are gonna help you or the people around you prevent from ever having to deal with some of the things that I've had to deal with recently. I'm also gonna give away 3 life-changing real estate wholesaling courses. So throughout this video, I'm gonna show you exactly what you need to do to qualify for one of these life-changing courses, so don't miss a beat. First and foremost, what is a mental breakdown? Nobody talks about these things, and I can bet you my entire net worth that 7 out of 10 entrepreneurs deal with these type of issues. All right, so I'm gonna go into the definition of what my perspective of a mental breakdown is, but just in case, here is Google's version. My perspective of a mental breakdown, it starts like this. You're super stressed out, and then you become super stressed out for a very long period of time. Nothing in life brings you joy. The things that used to bring you joy are no longer bringing you joy. You're just in survival mode at all times at this point. That stress eventually leads to some type of anxiety. And by the way, you stop developing an appetite, you start losing sleep, and then boom, anxiety starts to happen. Well, now you're stressed out, you have some anxiety, and you start to become mildly depressed. That's right, a super negative trifecta, not the kind of trifecta that anybody wants. You start to separate yourself from family, from functions, from friends. You don't really feel like doing much. You become almost apathetic. And if you're asking yourself, well, Carlos, how does somebody get to that emotional, spiritual, and mental state? There's a lot of different reasons that drive people to a breakdown. Let me just explain a few. In my case, I have really high expectations of myself. I have extremely high standards. I'm a control freak. I'm a perfectionist. I own and manage over 31 companies. There's a lot of people that depend on me. It feels like every single move has to be strategical every single day. Every single move I make, every single decision I make, I mean, there is backlash or there are consequences, positive or negative. Now for you, it could be totally different than what I go through. Let me just identify 2 different types of anxiety. You have GAD, which is general anxiety disorder, and then you have situational anxiety. Situational is when there's a specific situation that happens and you have a breakdown. You know, it could be the loss of a loved one, it could be a heartbreak, something situational. General is, you know, it's something that you may have been dealing with throughout your entire life. It could be a chemical imbalance, it could be childhood trauma, it could be adult trauma. But when it comes to general, you're just always living on the edge and you just can't seem to find peace and balance. Everybody has some type of stress. I don't care if you're rich or poor, I don't care if you're a man or a woman, we all have to deal with stress to some capacity. In my case, and in the cases of many business owners, you kind of just grow so quick that sometimes you are not ready for that growth. Your capacity just isn't quite there yet. I had my first mental breakdown in 2017, my second one in 2019, and my third one very recently, September of 2021. Let's go back to the year 2017 when I did not know what anxiety was. I didn't really deal with stress the way that most people deal with stress at that time. I didn't know what depression was. I really thought this was all kind of hocus pocus. I was already 3 years into launching my real estate company, and I'd already launched a couple of other businesses during that time. I had a medical company that specific industry, that market completely crashed, and I was left holding over $150,000 worth of assets that I needed to sell. So I was super stressed out. I had over $150,000 worth of product that I could not get rid of, and I was just stressing every single day. I was so anxious to figure out a solution, like many entrepreneurs. I didn't really pay the stress and the anxiety so much attention until I started developing physical symptoms: mind fog, dizziness, fatigue, loss of sleep, loss of appetite. I felt like something was medically wrong with me. And what did I start doing? I started going to every single doctor that you can think of just to make sure, because I did not understand why I was feeling the way I was feeling. I went to a heart doctor to get a heart stress test. I went and had a brain scan. I did MRI, and I did all kinds of blood tests. And they just kept telling me, man, you are super healthy. Until one doctor said, hey, I think you need to go see a therapist. Eventually, after seeing that therapist, he said, hey, I think you're dealing with some anxiety. I've seen this plenty of times before. Let me prescribe you some medication that will help. So the therapist sent me over to a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist then prescribed 2 medications, very low dosage, but nonetheless, they were very helpful at that specific moment. I took 2 to 3 weeks off from work. That's right, my business partners were dealing with the daily stress of the business. My primary objective during that time was to get my quality of life back. Again, I wasn't eating, I wasn't sleeping, and I wasn't very functional. So after a few days, it could have been weeks of taking the medication and being a little more relaxed, delegating a lot of the responsibilities of the business, I started to get my life back in order. I started sleeping again, I started eating again, and I started having some joy in my life once again. Now, keep in mind, that was 2017. Once I actually bounced back from that, it was like I was resetting and recharging during that entire month. Well, I came back stronger than ever. Not only did I scale most of my companies, but I added even more new companies. Yeah, I don't know if I should have done that at that time, but I just felt amazing. So everything was peachy. Things were moving, we were scaling, we were growing, and then 2019 comes around. I eventually was able to get off the pills, and I was still resuming my, day-to-day life, and things were great. 4 months of being off the pills, well, it looks like a lot of things were happening during that time. A lot of stress once again. That's right, the stress began to pile up once again, and I had a relapse. I had my second breakdown. This is 2019. Well, this was my second time around, so I knew what I needed to do to get back on the horse. I took some time for myself by working from home. I got back on the medication, and voila, a couple days or a couple weeks later, I'm back to normal. Started feeling great again, 2019. Guess what I did? This time around, I started going even harder than I ever did. I started building my personal brand. I started building more companies, scaling some of the companies we already had. I got on a rocket ship. 2020 came around. I lost my brother in January of 2020. I was still on medication, and then that was a pretty hard time for me and my family. And then the pandemic happened around February, March. I was still on medication, so I was handling all that stress, as well as I could handle that stress during that time. One of the best things that I did in 2020 was I hired multiple life coaches, because I didn't want to be on the medication, and I wanted to learn how to deal and how to cope with stress. So I learned a bunch of new tools to use: meditation, breathwork, aromatherapy, floating. I learned all kinds of things that were really helping me stay grounded. So once I implemented a lot of these tools, I got off the medication again. Yeah, this kind of starting to feel like a vicious cycle, isn't it? Maybe some of you have been through this kind of cycle. So fast forward to September 2021, I started to feel a lot of stress. I started to feel overwhelmed. Things weren't going as well as they should have. Maybe I wasn't growing the way that I was used to growing. Maybe I became a little stagnant. I can't really identify the specific issue, but I will say this: I started having some health issues. I was overweight. I happened to weigh 260 pounds, and I had a fatty liver, and I had a very low functioning gallbladder, and that really started to stress me out. Well, like I said, early September came around, and here we go again. I started to really feel it. I know what it feels like, because I've been down this road on 2 different occasions. I learned a lot from the previous 2 breakdowns, and I know what I needed to do, so I acted very fast. I slowly started to get back on the medication, but I did something different this time around. I did something that I had never done ever in my life. life. I went to a 2-week wellness retreat at a place called Utopia Clinic in Tampa Bay, Florida. Let me give you a little background on Utopia Wellness. I can't legally say that they cure cancer, but they've been helping people heal their cancer for 25 plus years. In fact, I was the only non-cancer patient there. This place takes a complete holistic approach to healing the body. Not only do they concentrate on healing the body, but their objective is to heal your mind, your body, your spirit, the emotional state that you're in. I mean, they really come at you from every angle. So I did all kinds of treatments there that were just phenomenal. IV infusions every single day with antioxidants, glutathione every single day, vitamin C, different minerals, all kinds of different vitamins in those IVs. I did the hyperbaric oxygen chamber. I did kinesiology, organic nutrition. They really focused on healing the gut. So I did some colonics and some coffee enemas. They identified that a lot of the diseases that we deal with in society start in the gut. I really do believe that. After 2 weeks of being there, I felt amazing. I felt like a brand new person. I just want to say this. Thank you so much, Dr. Garcia and the staff over at Utopia. You have literally changed my life for the rest of my life. I'm very grateful. All right, so let's talk about the 3 lessons that I was able to take away from being at this 2-week wellness retreat. One of the biggest things that I learned there from the doctors was practice the art of being, not doing. What does that mean? Well, these days we're constantly doing. We're either working or we're parenting or we're doing things for other people. We're constantly doing. When was the last time that you just practiced the art of just being yourself? Being relaxed. Here, I'll give you an example. For me, the way that I practiced the art of being when I was away is I rented a condominium right on the beach. So what I would do every single day after I was done at the clinic, I would go to the beach and I would sit there and I would meditate and I would just be grateful. Number 2, always put yourself and your family first. Now, for a lot of entrepreneurs, that is extremely difficult. Yes, I know, hard pill to swallow. But believe it or not, everything else can wait. When you're sitting there on that deathbed one day, because we're all headed there, right? You're not gonna sit there and tell your family members and the nurses, man, I wish I would have worked more. No, you're probably gonna say something in the means of, man, I wish I would have spent more time with my family and my loved ones. Your family deserves the best of you, not the rest of you. If you go and give the world and your job everything you have, and you come home and you have no energy and no love to give, that means that you're not giving them the best of you. At that point, your gas tank is on E and you're just giving them the rest of you. That's right. You come home, they get the leftovers. Not fair for them. Number 3, health is wealth. This is one of the biggest lessons I learned while I was there. For the rest of my life, I'm gonna take either 2, 4, or 6 weeks out of the year, either just by myself or with my entire family, and I'm gonna do nothing during that time. That time period will give your body a reset and you will recharge. You'll bring a lot of peace to your life, and guess what? You'll get to make a lot of memories with your loved ones. Yes, I know we live in a society where it's like grind 24/7, grind or die. I get that. I've been down that road, but let me tell you, it's not sustainable. All right, so for those of you that are trying to win a course, you've stuck it out this long, do me a huge favor. Tell me what lesson resonates with you the most down in the comments section, and I'm gonna pick 3 of you to win a course today. Hey, listen, I hope that this video and the lessons that I've learned recently serves you in some way, shape, or form. And if you feel that this video is informative, educational, even entertaining in some way, do me a huge favor. Share with somebody that needs to see it. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so. We love seeing those new subscribers come in. Until next time, I'll talk to you soon. Much love.